Greetings, YouTube. I have spoken negatively in the past about the Catholic Church, and I'm going to again. But I wanted to make it very clear that my problem is with the Catholic Church as a political and corporate entity, not directly a problem with people who are members of that church. But the parishioners are the people that allow the Catholic Church to be a political and corporate entity. Their membership and their dues they pay in the more of tithing and such, their donations, are what give the Catholic Church all of its political clout. The church is very, very wealthy, and it uses that wealth in ways that I don't particularly agree with. For example, convincing people to not use birth control, to overpopulate the world. It helps to spread disease because people aren't using birth control of some variety. It's opposed to contemporary and progressive concepts like same-sex marriage and equal rights for women. And of course, it's been aiding and abetting rapists for decades. The latest bit of news I've read deals with a report that will be released very shortly by Dan Rather. That has to deal with the fact that some of the wealthy dioceses have been declaring bankruptcy in an effort to avoid paying out claims filed against them through civil court by the survivors of sex abuse, claiming that, oh no, we're broke, we're going to file Chapter 11, so they don't have to pay out money. Which really, quite frankly, leaves me to ask the question, how are these people any different than organized crime? Because, to me, that sounds just like organized crime. At best, it sounds like a really sleazy corporate move. It doesn't sound like an organization that is supposed to be taking care of the spiritual needs of the parishioners. Now, I've been saying for years that the Catholic Church is a political and corporate entity. In the last year or so, I've been blatantly calling it organized crime. They have aided and abetted rapists. Plain and simple. They help to hide their crimes. They help to move them from parish to parish so that they would have access to new victims and the old victims couldn't file charges against them. The Catholic Church, in my opinion, is an organization founded on a morally bankrupt concept. And they've been morally bankrupt since the first time, centuries ago, they made the first decision to put their own goodwill above the goodwill of their fellow human beings. I mean, our current Pope, no, not our current Pope, the current Pope, is the man that helped to hide these crimes from the public's eye directly. Ratzinger was the top person involved in this, and yet he's Pope. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that they are currently involved in money hiding. I'm surprised they don't have it in an offshore account somewhere so that it can't be found at all. So I have a question for the Catholics out there, for any of you who are still members. Why are you still members? I understand that you have an attraction to the church because you were probably raised in it. And you probably have an attraction to the pomp and circumstance, the ceremony that is involved with the church. I get that. But you could go join the Anglicans or join the Episcopalians, both of which enjoy ceremonies and the trappesties of pomp and circumstance, if you will, without the rampant rapists and the hiding of the rapists from the public eye. So, how do you deal with the fact that your money that you give them on Sundays is being used to aid and abet rapists, to hide their crimes from the public and the survivors of those crimes? How do you deal with that? I'm really curious, because I know I've broken off all association with the Boy Scouts of America because they've done the same thing. And I publicly declare on a regular basis that the Boy Scouts of America is an organization that is morally bankrupt. And if I were a member of the Catholic Church, I would have to do the same. But I haven't been an active member since I was 14, and I haven't believed in the church since I was 5. So, when you look in the mirror on Sunday morning as you're straightening your tie and making sure your dress looks nice, how do you reconcile what your church has done?